The first really important technique we're going to look at, it's not technique, an idea that we're going to look at when it comes to crafting a guitar solo, is to think about spacing. Almost all guitar players, especially in the blues genre, could do with playing less and just letting their accompanying musicians or the backing track or whatever do a little bit more work. When you hear, and I'll play an example in a second to a backing track, but when you hear players who have just started improvising, there is just no breathing room in their solos. It's just ba 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 ba, and you're just getting beaten around the face with their notes. And from a listener's perspective, that can be a little awkward or uncomfortable, or it doesn't sound great. And from the player's perspective, the kind of sad thing is that actually often there are some really nice little pockets or moments in their solos, but they just get lost because they get lost in the total wash of notes. In the same way that if you've ever been sat next to someone at a dinner party or whatever who just speaks incessantly, they might actually be really, really interesting and have some really interesting ideas, but if they just don't even take a moment to breathe, you're not really going to be probably focusing on every word that they say. So what I'm going to do now is kind of show this in a musical context, and I'm going to play two solos or brief sections of a solo. The first, where I play without spacing. The second, where I leave gaps. So I'm going to really extend this idea and leave big chunks between every lick or phrase that I play. And you'll see, hopefully, that sounds much more musical and much more interesting. Now, I was having a little bit of fun and getting a little bit carried away with the first one because I was just going full pelt, slamming as many notes in there as possible. But hopefully, through that kind of over-exaggeration, you can see how that just is not conducive to, a solo that is interesting and kind of bluesy. And actually, although it was an exaggeration, when I first started improvising, my solos were probably not that dissimilar to that. And I think a lot of blues players, when they're getting started, struggle with that idea. So, tip number one, leave space. Leave so much space that you feel uncomfortable. This is a difficult thing to do when you get started. It's like public speaking and saying, "Hey guys," and then just letting the whole room sit there in silence. That is a difficult thing to do. And if you've ever watched a public speaker who is evidently nervous or embarrassed, it's just a non-stop, "Hey," and then on to the next slide, "Hey," and they never allow for those moments of silence. But, as you could hear in the second solo, when you take that time between the licks, when you just leave that kind of breathing room for the backing track or your fellow musicians to play, every lick that you then add into the mix pops out. Not only that, not only does it pop out and actually say something a bit more interesting, but you as a player can plan your next move a little bit better. You can listen to the backing track and, okay, I'm going to go now. Or, okay, this is going to be a cool idea to add in there. And it just slows the whole thing down and it makes it more enjoyable because you're not chasing around your tail. What am I going to play next? Hey, it's all good. I've got 5 seconds. I've got a couple of seconds before the next lick. It's a virtuous circle all round. More fun to play, more fun to listen to, more relaxed. And that's ultimately what this should all be about. It's fun. So, give that a go. Improvise with the backing track. Try and leave as much spacing as you can. I'm also going to add in some links to famous blues songs that really utilize this idea of spacing and leave a lot of gaps between the phrases. There's a British blues guitarist called Paul Kossoff, who I'll link below, and he was a master of doing this, just leaving huge gaps. It sounds amazing. So you'll see it in the context of some famous rock and blues songs as well. So give this a go. If you've got any questions, problems, issues, drop me a comment in the box or send me a message. I'm always around and happy to help. Otherwise, good luck guys, and I'll see you over in the next video.